Welcome, Rioters! Join us today as we team up to survive Embervale, animate a potato sack doll to solve a dark mystery, and punish Rev for his bad genetics by shoving color into his dreary world. We talk about all this and more on episode 182 of Indie Game Riot. Indie Game Riot!
Everybody, I'm Josh, joined once again by, yes, I got it right, Rev and Vance. Here, episode 182 of Indie Game Riot. And this week, we got some, probably more, we've been doing some pretty, already well-known games, so I'm excited to get back to kind of, doing some hidden gems on this one.
Yeah.
Although our Peep Show game is a pretty popular game. But we'll get to all that. In the meantime, just want to say thanks to all of you watching on the live show. Just a reminder, for those of you listening edited, we are live every Tuesday with our bigger, longer, and uncut. We were talking about South Park in between segments here. Yeah, so an uncut version of the show, and you can always stop in and chat with us directly. Who's the last person to talk? Malicious Intent. He got his name in the show.
Yeah.
So make sure you stop by here.
Call out.
But not a whole lot to introduce today, unless you guys have something big you guys want to talk about personally.
Not really.
Today is Tuesday. Tuesday is objectively the worst day of the week, but this is like a highlight of it. So
that's why we do it on Tuesdays.
Right.
But you are both wrong. It's Wednesday.
For you.
True. Yes, but statistically, because there's two of us where it's Tuesday and one of you where it's Wednesday, mathematically it's Tuesday.
Oh,
I think that's how it works.
Kill the time traveler. He's a
two
witch.
Tuesdays plus one Wednesday equals a Tuesday. Got it.
Yeah. The Wednesday cancels out one Tuesday, which leaves a Tuesday on the left side of the equal sign, therefore.
Okay.
Pretty sure that's how I failed algebra. Anyway.
No, okay.
Yeah,
go ahead.
No.
Mine was going to be a weird number segue about, Graham's number and how fucking weird it is, but moving on.
All right, that'll be a nice little teaser for an in-between rant for those of you listening to the edited versions, which we still appreciate, but, it's fun if you come to the live versions. Anyway, the other thing that you get... Well, actually, you get it in both, so I don't know what I'm talking about. It's an indie news injection. Enjoy.
Bam! If you know me, you know I love unions, and I love it when unions beat up on corporations or the government. It's always great. You should unionize your job, always. The downside is sometimes there's people that get caught in the middle of that. For example, indie devs who have a budget of like $250,000. I know there are some out there. But you previously would be locked out of getting SAG-AFTRA members to do voiceover work or mocap or stuff like that for your games because you couldn't guarantee them enough money, basically. Well, SAG-AFTRA has now introduced a new contract here for indie devs specifically. They had it broken out in a matrix of $250,000 to $15 million, give or take. And, the pricing, depending on what you're requiring, either 4 or 6 hours sessions, and then voiceover only, or are you doing mocap on camera or off camera? There's a whole little table of pick and choose your own adventure, what you're doing with your budget. And they will allow you to hire union actors.
It's always been a gray area. I'm non-union. I'm a non-union voice actor, so I've kind of been able to do whatever I want, basically.
Yeah.
Without undercutting people, obviously. But It's interesting though because of what they consider to be indie. I mean, you know, because when most people think indie, they don't think in the millions. You know,
Yeah.
Or mocap at all. To be honest, I know it happens, but it's a step in the right direction. I will say, I just want to point this out here. As much as I am pro-union as well, and for protections and all, you know, making sure people get paid and all that sort of stuff, they have not done their jobs. Just generally speaking, especially when it comes to like AI and the writer's strike, but especially AI. Fran Drescher, who is currently the president of SAG-AFTRA, I don't know, fuck you. You out of touch shithead. Hopefully that doesn't get me banned, but you know what I mean? I just gotta say that, and I know I'm not the only one that feels that way. So it's not all, you know, peaches and kittens.
Yeah, no, there are. However, in this agreement specifically, they are they've been in talks since September of 2023 with the big developers, you know, Activision, Blizzard, or sorry, Microsoft, and they're still, they want game performers to be protected from AI, so they are it's allowed any developer specifically working with the tech company Replica Studios to use AI voices, provided they have clear and unequivocal consent from the performer. And they are still working on, like, you have to have the actor's consent in order to use their voice for AI at all.
There's
and they must also explicitly state what the AI duplicate is being used for and when. So, like, this is really early. I mean, like, keeping in mind, right? Like, this kind of tech has been out there for about a year.
The reason
right?
I get angry at Fran Drescher is because she came out and basically said, like, fucking deal with it, you know. And she's talking like about the rich, you know, top 1% of people in SAG-AFTRA, not all.
No, she wasn't. But that was.
She is. She thinks. I mean, what she had initially proposed
was going to screw most people. Yeah.
Right.
And
she
like
came out and said basically deal with it. Until everyone fucking lost their shit, thankfully. So.
So it's work in progress, but like let's give it time. Like it's a. Without going to actual baseball bats, you're probably not going to convince the billionaire class to give up their attempt at digital slavery. So,
eat the rich.
You know, they can cut out the bottom line as soon as they can AI everything. So, press button.
Have you seen some of the examples? Some the Disney movies that they did. That
I've seen some of those are horrible. The one that cracks me up though is I just recently read there was he touts himself as an AI image prompt engineer. And he got mad because he tweeted out his little AI generated image and the prompt that he used to generate it, and he got like a couple thousand impressions on his tweet, and somebody saw that, took his prompt, put it into their own image generation thing, and then posted the image, and got like tens of thousands of impressions more than him. And he's like, this is plagiarism, and it's like, I should be compensated for the... And it's like, dude... Using the Domino's app does not make you a pizza chef. I don't get it. Anyways, I could rant about AI for a while. We've got what do we got next? We got GDC coming up, don't we?
We do. Vance.
Yeah. Yep. The old GDC. I haven't been there in a number of years. The last time I was going to go there, COVID happened, and so that's the last time that I had tickets to GDC. COVID happened, and that GDC was canceled, and I haven't been there since because it was canceled for a number of years after that. And then the one coming back after that was kind of a shit shows, like half online, and I'm not going this year either. GDC is always a good time. As an indie dev, I will say, if you're an indie dev, it might not be as useful in a lot of ways as you think. That's what I kind of discovered about GDC. So if you're an indie dev thinking about going to GDC, it will be inspiring. You'll see some cool talks. You'll go to some parties and meet some people, and you'll come back inspired. That will happen. And so if that's worth all of that money and travel to you, to get more inspiration and more motivation, then do it, because you will. But in a lot of ways, I think GDC is not the place that indie devs should be going if they're going to go to a conference. I think one of the smaller conferences, or one of the more focused conferences more focused on your particular game style, your genre, your niche, would probably be a better use of your conference going dollar as an indie game developer.
I know GDC is expensive, but what about, like, I feel like GDC is less about showing off your game or anything like that, and more about expanding your knowledge of just game dev in general, right? Like, so wouldn't that be worth their while? Or,
like I said, I mean, I've been there and I enjoyed it every time. I loved it, and I am inspired by the talks and whatnot. But I mean, you can see the talks online. A lot of them end up on YouTube eventually or something, right? So it's not a worthless experience by any means. All I'm saying is, if you are an indie dev with a small amount of money to spend to go to conferences,
dropping $2,600 for GDC probably isn't.
Might not be the best option of a conference to go to. There might be more focused conferences that might be a better use of your
Okay,
dollars.
I see what you mean. I
still don't like the fact that they stopped that. What was it called? The train that went from like Chicago.
Oh, the train jam. Yeah, that was so cool.
That was really cool.
Train jam.
It was a little upsetting when they ended that as well. They for those you don't know, they used to have a train that went from Chicago to GDC out in, where is that?
San Francisco.
San Francisco.
Yeah. And on the train you would do a game jam the entire way with other game developers on there, or you could do it by yourself. But I don't know. That just seemed like a really cool experience all around.
And then you would get to GDC and show off your games.
Yeah. Super cool. Speaking of another conference, though, we got another one that's recently opened up their ticket sales. Too Many Games. This is a conference that Indie Game Riot back in the day actually did a presentation panel, whatever the fuck you want to call it. And that was very cool. The only one that we've done. We always, anytime we've gone to conventions before, it's as like press, and we would check out games and interview people. But it was really cool to be able to do a talk there. And we actually had a full room, if I remember correctly.
It was full enough that they had to ask people to leave the room. And we weren't like it wasn't like, okay, I'm not talking like it was a giant conference hall, like
it was one of the
H
smaller
or whatever.
rooms,
it was a smaller room. It was like your average classroom,
college classroom, I should say. Yeah.
Maybe
it was it would be pretty large for like a high school or something like that, I think, unless I don't know.
Not my high school.
I guess you went to a huge high school.
But it was you could comfortably fit about 50 people in there. We had chairs for, I think, about 50, and then there were people that were like standing and sitting on the side there. It was a really fun experience. I don't know if we actually got video of Indie Games and You, to get into.
We should have recorded it. I don't know if we were allowed to or not. I don't see why not.
Oh yeah, I don't remember. But it's a ton of fun. There's so many games there that you can check out. And like, we saw some really cool indie games in the section. They do concerts and stuff. Lots of fun. It's out in Pennsylvania. which is a bit of a drive, but I can tell you from personal experience,
An hour and a
you
half for
can
me.
get there. It's an hour and a half for you, but from Orange County, California to Too Many Games is roughly 34 hours of nonstop driving. So you
do it again. You can
check
do it
that
again.
out.
I want to do it again. It was really fun.
I would
if we don't
love
get
to do
the
it, but I'm
top,
just gonna fly out if I do.
Yeah.
Like I'm not driving to Pennsylvania in March ever again.
Prices for Too Many Games
Wait,
can
no.
be pretty affordable, by the way. The cheapest is $40. I mean, it's still a good chunk of money, but compared to like GDC or something, they range from $40 to like $200, but the $200 one is like you get a bunch of like merch and stuff.
Oh, it's in June this year.
It is in June.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm still not driving out to Pennsylvania in June. I'll fly and you can pick me up from the airport.
All right, we'll drive down. But yeah, so check that out. Too Many Games is a good time, and yeah. So last thing and then sticking on the theme of conventions,
Conferences.
Indie Revolution Expo. Once again, just reminding everyone that it is coming up in May. If you have a game that is presentable, even if it's old, or if you have more than one, any games are welcome at Indie Revolution Expo. Register, go to indierevolutionexpo.com, and for those of you that don't know, we host Indie Revolution Expo, and it's all digital, all free. Go to indierevolutionexpo.com and register your games, and we will exhibit it to the best of our abilities based on the information that you give us. There, you can also register to do presentations, just like we were talking about. So if you have something interesting that you want to talk about, you have like some kind of expertise or just a thought that you want to talk about for 45 minutes that might be interesting to others.
Extrapolate on.
We've had those before.
Yep.
You know, you can register for a presentation as well. There's also a game jam with a cash prize, $100 at stake. For the winner there, that you can also take part in. That starts in April because the games, once they're finished, will be
Also
exhibited.
showcased.
Yeah, they'll be showcased during IRX, and it's a 3-day weekend, lots of fun. And there was something else I wanted to say too about IRX, but I can't think of what I was going to say. I lost my train of thought.
Well, I'm going to throw a brick at you and start a riot then.
All right.
Do you like creepy but cute and kind of fun? Then
Yeah.
you're probably gonna. Yeah. You like that? You're gonna like CLeM or Milk. I don't know. I haven't figured it out yet. There's something going on with this game that I just cannot get yet. I will forewarn. It is. You know, well, what's that game where you're like playing the loop over and over and over again?
There's a lot of games
Death
like
Loop.
that.
Yeah, no, like there was one specific, like Death Loop.
Yeah, definitely.
And every time you get like a little bit further, and then you can go back and like blah blah blah. That is like CLeM, but instead of like you're running around shooting people and gathering puzzle clues, you're gathering clues and collecting insects for a little girl. You're playing basically like a little potato sack doll, and you wake up in a basement. And that's all you get, and you get a voice that's like, "Oh, give me a thing," and it is
every Wednesday for me.
it's like some kind of attribute, you know, give me strength, give me intelligence, you know, whatever, and you're in this puzzle adventure game, and collect your stuff in your inventory, which you put in a little zipper in the back of your head, and you have a little book, and it tells you what insect you're trying to collect. And it's every loop that I have done so far has been very iterative. So like in your first loop, you've got to collect the butterfly, right? And you go through and you like solve the puzzles to like trap the butterfly inside, and then how are you going to get the butterfly to go over to the flower that does the thing, and then you can catch it in the jar so you can go and do and as you're doing this, you're unlocking things, and you've got additional puzzles that are coming out, and you get certain tools. There's a little teleport thing that you get at one point. You have a lens of truth that shows you hidden details, secret messages, and tips, and every time you do a loop, some new section of the house opens up, or there's a new tool to interact with something from before. It's really, really kind of interesting. There is also a very creepy undertone to this. Like, I found the little girl's dead dad in the basement. Like, that's just a thing that happens. Yeah, there's this Iron Maiden in the basement for some reason, and dad died in it. Like, it's there's something going on here, and I'm very excited to figure it out.
There's some cute little details though, like the inventory system is like, because you mentioned you have to like unzip the back of the character's head or something like that, but like,
yeah,
up in the top right corner there's a zipper that actually is animated, open and closed. There's little things like that I appreciate. This is a really nice looking like point and click adventure with seems like unique puzzles in it.
Weirdly, it's not point and click. It plays best on controller. Like, they literally suggest that you use, like, you can do it with the keyboard.
Weird.
But they actually recommend that you do it with a controller. And having tried to do both, I agree. It is better suited for a controller than
what
than
makes it better
keyboard.
suited for a controller?
Interaction. It doesn't use like arrow keys. It uses WASD, and interaction time is a little rough. Like, I don't think it utilizes the mouse, which makes it difficult.
That's interesting.
So yeah. But yeah, no, there's all sorts of little fun puzzle. Like, everything that happens in here, there's a little puzzle around it. There's lock picking. There's, can I organize the alcohol drinks to unlock the door? There's a magic bookshelf that you have to pull out the books in the correct order to unlock a different part of the door, and then hope you have already unlocked the teleport, because otherwise you'd have to undo that in order to open the door that you're in there. Like, it's really kind of cool and detailed, and like I want to know what the end game is. There is a lot of loop in this, by the way. Like I'm on chapter 4, and I think there's something like 20 different levels. But every time you start over back in the basement, and when you quit out to the game, you go back to sleep, and it takes you to the menu where you're in the basement, and then you just quit out, and then you come back. It's really kind of cool.
That's kind of interesting. 20 different levels, because it's a fairly short game from what people are saying. It's like 3.5 to 4 hours.
Potentially. You could probably run through it that fast, but I think I've got like, I think I have 2 hours on. And I'm on the 4th chapter.
Okay. I see other people, they're like closer to 5 or 6 hours as well. But
yeah.
7. So.
Like, I think if you know what you're doing and you're better at adventure game puzzle solving than I am, then you could definitely speed that up.
As an adventure game enthusiast, connoisseur, expert, Vance, what do you think about this using controller over mouse and keyboard? At least.
It's fine. I have played other adventure games that are not point and click, right? That I usually don't use a controller. I use the keyboards because that's what I'm used to, and I don't own a controller. But no, it's perfectly fine, of course, to use a control scheme in an adventure game that is not, pointing and clicking with the mouse. And some of them are well done, and some of them are not. But I have heard great things about this game, so I assume it is a well done control scheme, because I've heard a lot of good things about this game. Like like I said, when we were off in between segments, they exhibited pretty near me, right, like on the other side of the wall from me at Adventure X, where I was exhibiting here, and then they were on the other side of the wall right over here. So I heard a lot of people talking about the game as they were walking through and around, and all good things. So I've heard a lot of good things about this game.
Yeah. It's from the same publishers that did Strange Horticulture. So if and that was a very good game. We didn't cover it because it was during the hiatus, but Strange Horticulture is a very good game. So basically, what I'm saying is if they like that game, they have good taste, and therefore this game should also be good. Is my roundabout way of saying that. Developed by Mango Protocol, currently $15.99 on Steam, and
yeah, that's the list of attributes there on the screen. Sorry, I just saw it, and it's like 20 attributes.
Oh!
Sorry. Yeah.
I was like, the fact that it's $15.99.
Yeah. No.
Any last thoughts on CLeM? Because it's a still even at 7 hours, it's still a fairly short game.
Yeah, I mean and this is one of those places where you and I used to disagree violently. But I at that price, I'm happy with it, even if I don't get any further. Like, I got a couple of hours out of it. I spent more than that to go watch a movie with Fat Russell Crowe over the weekend. You know,
Fat Russell Crowe.
No, Russell Crowe got he got chunky.
Did he? Well, he's pretty.
Oh, yeah.
He's getting old though. He's allowed to be.
Yeah, no, he is. He's like 60 years old. So like, I'm cutting him some credit, some slack here. But like,
wait, is he going to be in the new Gladiator?
I hope to God so. That would be hilarious. That would be hilarious.
Are you not entertained?
Anyways, CLeM is a great game. Go explore it, figure it out, find out what's going on, find out what's up with this girl, and how is she doing all of this magic stuff? I don't get it. Moving on.
She's a witch.
She's a witch, maybe.
Yeah. Well, to cleanse your eyes of the dead father in the basement, how about we take a look at some Peep Show? This week on Peep Show, we're talking about Enshrouded. Enshrouded is yet another survival game. I promise you, I'm not trying to go on a survival kick. I think survival games, I mean, there's constantly survival games coming out, but there feels like there's a bit of a
what?
I don't want to say
or
Renaissance, because it's not like it's like a fucking the golden age of television or something like that. But there is definitely a resurgence happening with quality survival games, and this is definitely quality. Enshrouded is a lot of fun. So basically, you start.
I'm sorry. I'm gonna pause real quick because you have that like Midwest kind of like slur. The game's name is Enshrouded. He's not saying Enshrouded. Just FYI.
I don't even know. Do I have an accent? I'm not even Midwest. I'm in the Eastern.
I didn't notice. Enshrouded, right? Enshrouded, is that right?
Now
Enshrouded.
It's Enshrouded.
Now I don't know how I'm saying it. Like, am I saying it right? I don't know.
You've ruined yet another existential crisis on Indie Game Riot. Anyway, Enshrouded, and damn it! All right, the game that we're talking about is a lot of fun. You can play multiplayer, by the way, but you're playing as are they the Fallen? No, they're
Flameborn.
Yeah, Flameborn. Yeah, the Fallen is a different thing. The Flameborn. The way the terminology they use is definitely borrowed. Some are inspired by various other games, so there are some confusions for me there. But you are the Flameborn, and you are trying to attempt to eradicate the Shroud from the land, the corruption, basically, by building these shrines in the middle of places and building up building up structures around them. You also can go out and do these quests where you recruit people that will allow you to upgrade your equipment and your town further, and for your shrine to then expand the area allowed to build in, therefore get rid of more shroud, and you can build more shrines because you can put the shrines like in various places of the map. You can build the houses for these people to live in and have their shops in that you can upgrade on, and it's very much it reminds me a lot of what is that called, the vampire one, what is it called?
Vampire?
No. Well, you play as like a vampire, and it's like isometric. Oh, fuck. Anyway, it's another survival game. That and like Ark a little bit, and a little bit of there's a lot of standard survival mechanics and things in this from various other games, but they put it together very well with their own spin on it. So it's not really super derivative or anything like that. I don't know, they balance it out very well. It's really fun to play with other people. It's not incredibly challenging, but you can like travel to areas that might be out of your league until you get certain equipment upgraded. There's things like hang gliders and grappling hooks. So they even borrowed a little bit from freaking Breath of the Wild with the hang glider thing, I think. But until you get those.
Is that where that came from? I was wondering because like we played Pal World last week. That had hang gliders. And then this has hang gliders.
I think
I'm like, why are there hang gliders in every survival game?
I'm pretty sure
is that where it comes from?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it has to do with that. But it's blocking off certain areas because you can't get past, like, there's like these bridges that you have to get across, but they're taken out, and so there's chunks of them missing. You get across, blah blah blah. The map, by the way, is huge. Like it feels like it's normal at first until you realize that you're just doing like a certain biome essentially. And then you start to zoom out and zoom out and zoom out. And you're like, holy shit, I got a lot to go. And this shit's still in early access. So they're adding more and more. It's almost overwhelming, actually. My friend actually critiqued it. He thought it was too big. For me, I don't mind so much. I mean, that's just more bang for your buck. As long as the progression, the pace of progression is well thought out. That's the only thing I have to say. Another one that this borrows a lot from is Valheim, and that, especially when it comes to the base building aspect. The graphics are a little bit less stylized than Valheim, and one thing I really appreciate, it's a small thing maybe, but I really appreciate it, because in Valheim, when you're trying to level out, and Jen knows what I'm talking about because she is a menace in that game, when you try and level out ground with a pickaxe or whatever tool that you need to level it out with, it like does a lot. It like fucking puts a pit in the ground and you can't level it back out. It is almost impossible. In this game, it seems a lot more reasonable when you're trying to level out ground. It's still not perfect, but it's a lot more reasonable when you can build it back up, so it's not horrible. The one thing that I don't like is that to build like foundations or homes and things like that, you have to go to a crafting bench and craft blocks first. You can't just like straight up build it out of your inventory with whatever stuff that you had. You have to like go and build these blocks first, and then your inventory is filled with these blocks. And at least in the beginning-ish part of the game, you don't get a lot of super good inventory options, like with chests and things like that. Not a lot of room. So that's like my one major gripe to it. There's still some early access issues with maybe some balancing of certain places. One thing is too, like if you're playing co-op, the person that you are playing with can potentially, if they have played by themselves, they could have like done all these quests without you, and then not only are they like leveled way up ahead of you, and then you're like behind them, but also they've done all these quests, and all of a sudden you've just missed out on them. That happened to me with my friend. He got all these, like, he went on these quests and got all these people there, and I missed out on those quests, and I was like, damn, I was looking forward to that. So there is that as well. But overall, Enshrouded, super fun game, especially if you're a fan of survival. Very solid. Vance, you said you played a lot of it.
Yeah. So I've been playing with my brother. the last couple of weeks. We've played a few times, and yeah, it's quite a fun game to play with someone. There's some good aspects. I can't say I'm as enamored with it as you seem to be. I have maybe some bigger issues with parts of it. Mainly, like I really don't like the look of it that much. It's kind of a little bit generic looking. It's kind of like generic fantasy. But it has some of the really fun things that I think are in it are like when you go into the towers or some of the quests, like to find the people in the beginning and that kind of stuff. There's some really interesting puzzles that you have to work your way through the towers. Like, you have to swing through here and then get through this trap this way, and then
the towers are the best part.
Yeah,
and that was
exactly.
Another one I missed because of my friend, fucker.
Yeah. So they've designed some cool sort of puzzle levels that are within this survival game. There's sort of like platformer levels a little bit that you have to make your way through, which are quite fun. The other thing that I find really interesting is that you don't start with any class, but you choose skills, so you can progress a little bit this way, a little bit this way, or all the way this way, and then you could kind of mix and match a little bit.
Yeah,
you can't mix and match too much because you have to. Yeah, pretty much. You can kind of make your own character. I mean, you do have to progress a little bit further down one path. You can't just take one of everything, because then you'll just kind of be good for nothing. But you do have to kind of go down a little deep into at least one of the paths to have useful skills. But so it is kind of a build your own class, a little bit multi-class, or go full bore into one, or whatever you decide to do. So I like that choice aspect of it.
Yeah, the progression system is interesting. I like the tree. The magic path is, I think, pretty OP. I think they did nerf it a little bit, especially the healing spells. But that is, of course, the path that I ended up not taking at all. So there's that. I started off going for like a tanky build, and then I kind of veered off into using bow and arrow and basically like a ranger hunter type.
Sneaky bow and arrow assassin.
Yeah, because I was getting tired of getting my ass
play
kicked.
Skyrim.
Yeah. I usually go towards that way. I like stealth, and I like shooting from range. I like sniping people. It feels good to snipe. I'm pretty good at it, but the magic is definitely
okay.
The
So explain how you're like you like sniping, but you don't like point and click. No, I'm kidding.
I like point and click.
I'm kidding. I was kidding. It was a deep cut reference. Never mind.
Well, the Enshrouded is, by the way, made by Keen Games. Again, currently early access, $29.99.
And it will go up.
So it is on the pricier side of indie games, but it's a huge game. So if you were like me, if you're like I was, I'm a lot more loose about it nowadays. But if you're like I was, you will get your money's worth out of that. $30 and whatever it ends up going up to. They also have the soundtrack included bundle. What?
I was gonna say, what did you think of the soundtrack? Because they're selling that separately.
It's all right. I honestly can't, nothing got stuck in my head. There's nothing wrong with it. But I mean, I don't think I would.
It wasn't like haha to you.
Yeah, maybe some other people might like it though. I don't know. Or you could just support the dev and just get the soundtrack. You know?
Okay.
So just go do it. Yeah. They recently, actually, as of today, they surpassed 2 million players. So congratulations to them.
And they support up to 16 player co-op, correct?
Yeah, 16 player co-op. And again, it's a big ass map, but when you start off, it's not that big. So I'm imagining 16 players. I don't know if it scales up with as many players as that you have, because if not, then I feel like you got 16 players on there, it's just going to be a royal beatdown on whatever single enemy you're going to come across. They're just going to curb stomp the shit out of them.
It's gonna like strip mine the whole area. There's no more ore. There's no more trees. Nothing. Everything.
Just turn Enshrouded into a capitalist society.
Yeah.
There you go. But that's Enshrouded for you. A very good game. I highly recommend if you enjoy survival games. Any last words on Enshrouded?
Nope.
No.
All right. Well, it is an expensive game, and if you can't afford that, you might be interested in our next segment. That's free fun.
Today on Free Fun, we're going to talk about a game that puts a little bit of color in your miserable existence, and that game is called Snoody. Snoody, one of the Ayrie?
That's how I've been pronouncing it. Ayrie is how I pronounce.
Yes. Ayrie or Ayrie or something like that. This is a game in which you are from a planet that loves colors, and then one day all the colors go away, and so you are sent out to all the other planets that have the colors to take their colors, probably by force, since everybody's trying to kill you when you get there, and they want to keep their colors, I guess. And
Are you a villain?
It doesn't say that you are. But you sure seem to be hated because everything's trying to kill you wherever you go.
You know, this game actually, the style of this game, just speaking of all the colors and stuff, it reminds me of Dragon Tales. You remember that show? You guys might, I don't know if that was like more before you because you guys are older than me, but not by like that much. But there was a kids show called Dragon Tales back in the 90s that this really reminds me of. So it was it put me off a little bit because I was like, this has really good reviews, but I don't know. Is this for like my children? So, but go ahead.
Yeah, that's about it. So it's a top-down perspective. It is a 3D top-down game. And as far as I can tell, the gameplay is you walk along and a whole bunch of things try to kill you, and you try not to die. I didn't get very far in this game just because I'm not very good at this kind of game where just tons of enemies are trying to kill you and you have to awkwardly try to shoot at them because some of them take like 5 hits to kill and they're all around you constantly. So I don't know. I'm just not very good at this kind of game.
Well, maybe it's a hardcore game, not for kids.
Yeah,
it's like
it does look difficult. It's like part shmup, part like, yeah.
They should have renamed this 50 Shades of Grey for Rev. Completely sorry. That would have been definitely not a kid's game. So, I mean, there's that. Again, this is free fun, so it's free on Steam.
Here's the coolest part about this game for me. This was made by a collective on a project. It wasn't like a company put this together or, somebody did this as like their homegrown passion project. It's part of the Game Dev Experience Stables project, which is basically get a bunch of people working on a game, get an actual game out, a completed gaming product, and then use that to leverage getting people jobs in the game dev industry.
Building up your portfolio and showing off.
Yeah.
That's cool.
They had 27 different people, over 120 people applied to be a part of this project. 27 of them made it in. And they had their game design document. This is all a 27-person thing. They started December 15th of 2022. And this game was released June 15th of 2023.
That's really cool. I wish that would actually happen more in like the indie sphere. I mean, I know everyone. It's easier said than done because you need time is money and people need the money. Yep. But man, I would love and I've made like one game in my life and it was awful, but it was for a game jam. But
your first game is always awful.
Vance knows what I'm talking about because he had to play through it.
Love to say everybody's first game is awful.
Yeah.
You just keep making games. That's how you start making good ones.
Well, tell that to Concerned Dave. That bastard is a millionaire.
But yeah, no, like this one was, it's kind of cool. I like their write up on like the things that they wanted to include that they just didn't have time to. You know, stuff like they wanted to eat 4 distinct planets that would all have its own unique inhabitants. Additional, they wanted to be able to give you the ability to mix elements and runes to synergize. They wanted to add like quest chains and additional mini games and like even a defense mechanic to it. But yeah, no, like for a 4-month project with 27 people, like this is really cool. I'm going to actually be reading up and seeing if I can't support the game dev experience stables, like if they're a thing.
You know, honestly though, maybe that's something that we could put together at some point in the future. Not to put more work on everyone's plate, but it would be a really cool idea to just have collaborations like this. You know, I wish I could get involved with things like that as well. I mean, I wouldn't mind lending like voice talents to stuff and trying my and like new stuff. Like I said, I've dabbled in programming, and I wouldn't mind like giving my hand in like some writing and design and stuff like that as well. So we should maybe we should look at that in the near future after IRX stress has faded away. So yeah, cool. Get on Game Stables and everyone there. I hope you all found some good jobs for yourselves. Very good first effort with the well, I don't know if it's their first effort, but very good effort, I should say, with this free game. A lot of fun, challenging, and full of color that Rev can't see.
Yep.
But you know what I can see, Rev, and you should be able to see as well.
Oh no, it's the end of the show, isn't it?
It is the end of the show, and I'd like to thank everyone who was here for the live episode, Jen and Malicious Intent, and anyone new who might have stopped by. I appreciate it, because I see some new names in there. So you know, thank you for giving us a try. I hope you show up next week, because we do this live recording session every Tuesday at 9 p.m. Eastern time. Whoops, transitioned weird. I apologize. If you do enjoy the show, there's ways that you can support us, such as Patreon. And on Patreon, I just want to give a shout out to Proposterone for being one of our patrons. Thank you so much for your support. You can also support us by subscribing on Twitch and buying merchandise, all that sort of stuff. There's actually because we're on the edited version, which will come out the next day after the live show. We're on like YouTube and Spotify and all that stuff. But on Spotify, they actually have kind of the same thing that I see you rolling your eyes. they kind of have the same thing now, where you can subscribe and support if you want to. So that's kind of cool. I don't know how many people actually know about that, but it is there. But
at least 3. The guy that coded it, the guy that told him to code it, and the guy that published it.
and me, because
and Josh.
Because I just hoarded
4, at least 4.
Yeah, and now you guys. So if you can't afford or don't feel like supporting us financially, you can always support us by just watching the show or sharing links and all that sort of stuff. You can also email us news stories and games to check out by emailing us, contact@indiegameriot.net. That's always appreciated. If you're a game dev, maybe send us something your way. We can maybe interview on your show. You know, who knows? Speaking of,
It's been a while since we've done
submitted to IRX.
Oh well, speaking of, I mean, I've been reaching out, and this is not confirmed yet, so I'm not going to say anything specific. But there is potentially a very well-known dev that may be coming on the show sometime in the near future.
Okay.
I'll tell you after the show, because I don't want to announce it just in case. But
we get background noise.
Yeah.
Like, really, guys, for those of you that are watching or listening to this, Vance and I are often as much in the dark as you are as to what direction each show is going to go. So it's mostly because like Josh is the one that like he's the kind of face guy, like the sultry tones help set the stage. If I try and get people, I'm like, hey, do an interview on my podcast, and they're like, oh, is it 3 middle-aged white guys talking about something? Yeah, it's that.
You know,
okay.
when we were looking for a third host before we landed on Vance, I was like, maybe we should get. I don't want to because that would really limit it, But I was like, man, we should really get some estrogen in this show or something. But which I'm still open to. Be honest. Not to replace
absolutely.
Vance, but to have another point of view on the show. But yeah, so I'd love to get more female devs on here. So if you are a female dev, please share your knowledge with us. Otherwise, you can find us on Discord, links below. We're on Twitter at Indie Game Riot. IRX is coming up again. And the thing, I said it between segments, the thing I forgot to say when we were talking about IRX earlier is that this year we have an idea, Vance came up with an idea of doing virtual booths where you can actually stay in a voice chat in our Discord server, show your gameplay footage, and have people stop in, and you can talk to them directly, just like a physical booth at a convention. There's still some things we need to smooth out, I believe, but that is a really cool idea. I'm really excited about, so I hope it pops off. Trying to think if there anything else that we need to talk about. I think that's it. Last words?
Glenn Merkelisk.
By the way,
I don't know what that means, but
I see a lot of I'm going to whore out a little bit more. I see a lot of Prime subscribers in there. You get a free Prime subscription you can throw our way too, by the way. Just pointing that out there. Merkelisk?
Yeah, that was my Glenn Merkelisk. That was my final word.
All right. Shamalama Ding Dong, I guess, if we're
all right.
Vance?
Yeah, I'll slam your ding dong right after the show.
Well, goodbye, ladies and gentlemen.
Oh, have a good one, folks. We're about to.